Yes, I know. 9-minute economy trip reports don't usually pack that much of a punch, but this little flight on the new South African Airways was the chef's kiss superb. Hi there, my name is Kevin. This channel came from a love of traveling, a love of the full process and the journey itself. I feature airline trip reports and high-end hotel reviews from all over the world. My reviews aren't sponsored by airlines or hotels, so you can be sure to get my unbiased opinion. Am I an expert? You can decide. Am I fair? Yeah, I am. Let's get into it. Welcome to Johannesburg's OR Tambo International Airport. I just arrived from Rome via Addis Ababa. Check out my past 2 videos in Ethiopian business class if you'd like. Now we're heading to the domestic terminal for my final leg to Cape Town. If you'd like to know the exact fare that I paid or my next 5 videos in queue, please check out the description below. Alright, so some of you know I'm Starline's Gold, but you can see that definitely was not necessary here. The extremely friendly check-in agent had my boarding pass in my hand in a matter of seconds, and then I was off to security, which had its own priority line, which also honored Starline's Gold. Also, super friendly. Let's head up to the lounge, and I'll explain why there was literally no one else checking in. First off, I was early, but besides that, South African Airways has been having a time. Let's see if I can do this in 60 seconds as we look around the lounge. The South African government formed the airline in 1934 after acquiring Union Airways. Throughout the majority of the century, there were many anti-apartheid restrictions on the government and the airline in general, which created a pretty small route network. Following the demise of apartheid in 1990, the government-owned carrier expanded willy-nilly. Flying to New York? Okay, I can understand. Flying from Cape Town to Miami? I'm sorry, but you've got to be out of your mind to think that route is ever going to make you money. That kind of reckless expansion plagued the airline until 2007, when they announced a restructuring program. Except, nothing really happened until 2017, when they began reducing their fleet and cutting their route network. For decades, the carrier did little more than spend taxpayer money. Then, in December of 2019, they officially declared bankruptcy. In true South African Airways fashion, 4 months after that, they decided it was a great time to introduce 4 brand new A350s with a new business class and everything. 2 months after that, now also bleeding money because of COVID, the government stopped funding the airline with immediate effect, and in May 2020, they ceased operations. The airline was relaunched by the TAAG consortium, which controls 51% of the airline. Their route network is now a fraction of what it used to be, and they currently operate 9 aircraft, down from their peak of 75. But I look at all of this as having a silver lining. If they expand slowly and methodically, there's absolutely no reason that this airline cannot re-emerge as a true player on the continent. So as I rambled on, did you notice how nice the lounge was? I mean, relatively speaking, it's quite the place for a domestic lounge for an airline that only reactivated itself in September of 2021. Alright, boarding began with priority for business and elite passengers and was overall very orderly. Let's take a look at today's flight stats, shall we? We'd push back 3 minutes early and head up to flight level 38 for our 101 minutes in the air, arriving in Cape Town 14 minutes ahead of schedule. When I was preparing to book my flight, I was hemming and hawing about whether or not to book business class. Obviously, it's not necessary, but I was just curious to try it because it's a strange offering. It's the only standard narrow-body layout in a 2-3 pattern that I know of. I ended up just doing the reasonable thing and booking economy, but that's not to say that they didn't try to get me to upgrade about 3,000 times. The only thing about the new South African Airways that I wasn't a fan of was the communication. When I booked the ticket, I received 6 SMS messages from 6 different US numbers, all strung together formed a single message. After a very warm welcome on board, here you can see the business class offering as we pass through. But my seat, 18 Alpha, turned out to be one of the more comfortable economy seats that I've had in a while. They're not super slimline seats, but they are Recaro, which pretty much spells uncomfortable most of the time. These were kinda delightful though. Plenty of padding, a fully functional headrest, generous leg room, a real tray table. I mean, all things considered, this is a pretty great product that they're offering. Get your popcorn, it's time for a moment of PR. As South African Airways surely did not pay for this ticket, that means that you, whoever you are the sponsor of this video. In addition to watching, Clicking that thumbs up button and subscribing is a great way to support the channel, and it'll cost you a grand total of 000. My Patreon and Venmo details are also in the description below if you don't like zeros though. A big ol' thanks in advance. The cup holder was one battle that I lost though. We pushed back as the sun started to hang low and the crew performed the safety demonstration. I've never been to South Africa before, so I was like a kid looking through the window of a big fancy candy store as we taxied to the runway. Always loved to see a new airport. My eyes were especially fixated on the TAAG Angola 777 though. A business or first class flight with them, or both, is definitely on my bucket list, perhaps in 2024? We'd be taking off to the southwest and continuing in that direction all the way down to Cape Town. The spool up and take off and a little bit of light reading is coming up next. A few minutes after the seatbelt sign was turned off, the crew were already coming down the aisles with carts. I honestly just thought it was going to be a drink service, if that. Was shocked to see a proper meal, and a tasty one at that. The choices were beef or chicken. I went with the beef and was more than happy with the choice. The beef was actually tender and very flavorful, and those creamy greens were probably the best 2 bites in the tray. And for a nostalgic throwback, that pasta salad tasted precisely like every macaroni salad that's ever been served in every American supermarket ever. In case you had just a little bit of faith left in Skytrax, which you really shouldn't have, allow me to take it away. So Skytrax named South African Airways Africa's second best carrier in 2021. Funny thing though, at the time of the announcement, the airline hadn't flown for 18 months. As we approached Cape Town, the terrain began to get a bit more interesting as we approached from the northeast before making our final turn to land from the north. Cape Town, by the way, is humongous, almost 1,000 square miles. The entire city isn't even in this frame. We landed without much fanfare and made a beautiful late afternoon taxi to the gate, and it kind of felt like we were the only ones here. And that is that. Let's head into the flip-flop score. I think you got the picture already. It was a great flight. Beyond the seat and the food though, I was truly struck by how friendly each and every SAA staff was throughout the process. I'll see you in town next time from the gorgeous George Hotel, one of my favorite boutique hotels in quite a while.